much about Randy, at this point, but just the fact that he's been with the team since '07, which means he was there with Tomlin. When he came in, I don't know if he was there before. No, he joined in '07. So yeah, he came in with, Tomlin. So this is someone he's been riding and dying with for the past 10 years, Now, with Todd Haley, we talk about Todd Haley, and this seems like we've heard this story before. And Todd Haley has been in other places as head coaches or OC. He was in Kansas City as a head coach. He was in Arizona as an OC. But the whole thing about getting into it with players and players, because we saw him go in, him and Anquan Bolden went in on each other on the sidelines, going back and forth. Now, guys, they argue all the time and everything. Emotions get heated and everything, and then you just go back and then you just like it's over. But when it starts to be a constant thing, or it's always being brought up, they say, where there's smoke, there's fire, So that's what I thought this whole situation was, because they were talking about, Todd Haley and Ben's relationship for years at this point. This is not something that just reared its head, this past season, for them. So I think it was probably time on both ends. I think Todd, had his ideas of how he wanted things to be done. Ben thought about different. I mean, one of the big things in that game last week against Jacksonville was everyone was talking about him not quarterback sneaking. And Ben made the comment of, hey, we haven't did a quarterback sneak in years. I just run what they tell me. So it was kind of a side message, if you want to take it as. It's just like, look, you got to talk to Todd on that. He's the one calling the plays, which on the side note, I still don't understand why you got quarterbacks such as like Ben Roethlisberger not being able to change out of a call or change out of a play. Now, I'm not saying that he has never done it, but I just think he would have the green light, if Todd throws something out there and Ben is just like, nah, we need to roll with this. And he gets the Willie Beeman green light, But I am just surprised at that. And it's been years since they've done a quarterback sneak. And you got a quarterback who's, 6'5", 6'6", 240, 250. And we've seen it with a quarterback of that size in someone like Cam Newton. Now, Ben is not as athletic, of course, as Cam, but I think he could move the pile just a tad bit if it's 4th and 1 or 4th and less than 1. That's all I'm saying. And I think those things like that, along with probably, decisions that were made during the game, or, a package that was put together or a game plan that was put together, finally just wore out both parties. Todd Haley doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's just going to, be like, nah, I'm not changing everything I'm doing. If you need it changed, then you need to get somebody else. That's how Todd Haley comes across to me, but you got to remember, they did some good things. Like I said, they had a high power offense. It's just getting into the mix of when it's crunch time, being on the same page. And I just don't think they were on the same page, the entire year or previous years, with Todd Haley there, but the one good thing about, the offense for the Steelers, because they did so well, Todd Haley is already being talked about being associated with the New York Jets. They just got rid of their OC coordinator, Morton, and now that's an open spot. And the Jets, obviously, we know they struggled, but seem like they got some nice pieces over there, and guys like Robbie Anderson and Safarian Jenkins, so they still got to figure out the quarterback situation. But with an OC like Todd Haley, that may, help out their situation. So Todd is not it's not like he's going to be sitting at home, woe is me or anything like that. He will still be good to go, but I will say, this situation and you'll hear me make references to, my home state, Michigan or whatever, but, similar. I'm not saying it's the same thing, because when I say this, people are going to be like, oh, Jelani, what are you talking about, man? Why are you going to bring up the Detroit Lions? Yeah, I'm going to bring up the Detroit Lions. But it does kind of remind me of a situation with Joe Lombardi, who was the previous OC in Detroit before Jim Bob Cooter. And it was just, and the reason I say similar is because it was that relationship. everyone was questioning like, hey, you got these guys, you got Megatron, you got, Stafford. Why is this offense sputtering? Why are they having problems? Why is Stafford, turning over the ball left and right? Why is he out there just running around like a wild man? And obviously Stafford and Lombardi wasn't on the same page. Not saying that they hated each other or anything like that, but I just think they had differences of opinions. So the Lions make a change and they get Jim Bob Cooter, or same thing, they promoted from within, and Jim Bob Cooter became the OC, and then Matthew Stafford stats improved. His interception rate went down. They made the playoffs, not this year, but, last year. But you saw the improvement. And I think that's what they're looking for with the Steelers with making the change. They're looking for the improvement, and they're trying to basically capitalize on the small window of opportunity that they got. We will jump to the chat room real quick. But Mac Farrell said, despite all of Todd Haley's fault, Ben was the one of the least sacked quarterbacks with Haley when Haley was the OC. So again, I'm not saying, Matt Farrell, you make a good point, and I'm not saying that it was just horrible there, because yes, they put up a lot of points and they did a lot of good things, but at the end of the day, they had a difference of opinions on how they wanted things to work out. And I really just think it was, in critical situations on 4th and 1, or, now the onside kick was, Tomlin's idea, but, just certain situations with the offense where people would have been like, why did you call that? Why would you run that play? I can't give you a definite answer, but they did not, see eye to eye on things. So, but what I see in here is a lot of people jumping in the chat room. So some love to Big L here in here, and already hating, talking about why Detroit talked today. Well, we could talk about the Bears, but them guys suck. So, hey, maybe something later. We could talk about the Bulls. The Bulls are doing better. We could talk about your Razorbacks, but we're not. Big Al, leave me alone, man, before I put Lopan on you, man. I'm going to unleash him. But shouts out to Denise Milk and Cookies who are in the building. My man Al Thompson is in the building as well. Mo Cheese, Country Road Show. He's also in here. And we got a lot of other people in here. I saw JB Jennings. Mocha Bella, you're going to be happy because we got a Big L award going out today for today's show. So we will get to that later, and Jay Fish the Microwave, he is also in here as well. I'm not going to read what he put in the chat room because he's whack. So, and it hurts my feelings, what he said. But now what we will talk about, and since I just mentioned Fish, is that it rolls into my next topic as far as the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, we're going to talk about them, for a little bit. Now, not necessarily a team. Wednesday we talked about the matchups and everything, and I still have not really picked a winner, for these AFC and NFC championship games. That, of course, I will have an answer for you tomorrow. Definitely on tomorrow's show, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, thewaitaminuteshow.com. Shameless plug. But hey, it is what it is. But this caught my eye, and just made me ask, a question, or inquire, I should say, on this. So the police in Philadelphia, because obviously this NFC championship game is in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is starving for a Super Bowl championship. And I can't fault them on it. They tasted a little bit of it, with Donovan McNabb and T.O. and everything, and they came up short. And then you got Andy Reid that got him to 5 NFC championship games. So, it's just like it's been right there on their tongue. It's been right there on their tongue, and they're ready to taste it, but for whatever reason, they dropped the bottle, or it's knocked out of their hand, or anything, anything else that you can think of. But, now they're back in this position. I think a lot of people are surprised with them being in this situation, because you lose a guy like Carson Wentz and he goes down with the injury of an ACL tear and his season is over. And now your backup quarterback is basically, you're saying, take us to the promised land. Take us to the promised land, Nick Foles. And he's had his struggles, and he showed at the end of the regular season he had his struggles. But it's all about what you do in the game. But I talk about that because now the NFC Championship game is in Philadelphia. So Minnesota's going there. They're going to have to, really, really do some things to pull this game out. But what really caught my eye was that the Philadelphia police has put out a letter to a certain part of town that Eagles fans frequent during the games. So what they are worried about is what happens if the Philadelphia Eagles win this NFC championship game and go to the Super Bowl. So they have, I'm going to read this. This is a letter from the police. I'm telling you, this is real. This is real. This is from the police department in Philadelphia. It is the Commissioner, Richard Ross Jr. He's just sent this. It's about 3 or 4 days ago. And he says to avoid any problems with celebrants during the NFC championship game on Sunday. He's talking about this Sunday. The 15th Police District respectfully requests and suggests that if you own a business located in the area of Frankfurt and Cottman Avenue and your business will be closed, that you have gates locked and secure in order to protect your property. Please remove anything outside your business, trash cans, flower pots, etc. If you are a bar owner, same thing. They request that you sell alcoholic beverages in plastic cups and refrain from selling takeout bottles. So they said the police will be enforcing, open container law, and please refrain from having patrol patrons leave the bar with any open containers from loitering outside of your establishment. So and it goes on and they're just saying they got cameras and all this stuff. So what I'm reading this is because I'm just like, have they lost their mind? Why are Philadelphia fans? This is what I'm trying to figure out. You're thirsty. We understand. There's a lot of us that's fans that understand your thirst. But why are you bracing for the police? Why are you bracing for a trip to the Super Bowl? They've been to the Super Bowl numerous years. Like I just said with Donovan McNabb, but they also went with Jaws, and they've been on the cusp before. So why would a team destroy the city over going to the Super Bowl? I'm not even condoning doing it if they win the Super Bowl, but with that, at least people be like, well, they won the championship. You guys are just, if you win, you're just taking a road trip. That's it. You're just getting on the bus or the plane and flying over a few states. That's it. Nobody is giving you anything. You haven't won, and you just may run into a bad man named Tom Brady. And I don't think Philly wanted any parts of that. But why are you celebrating? Why would you destroy the city over a NFC championship win? You've gotten, to the game plenty of times and you've gotten to the Super Bowl. You should be you shouldn't be trashing anything. But if they are going to do it, that's it. That's it. They are putting way too much energy. And if they did something like that, and I hope Fish is listening, that's whack. You ain't won nothing. That's all I'm saying. You ain't won nothing, But we'll move on from that and we'll get into the NBA. And I see Fish is talking about the phone lines. What's wrong with the phone lines? Nothing is wrong with the phone lines. It's just we got them off right now, Fish. We will do a part for a call in a little bit later on in the show. Now, Wednesday we tried one and Chief called in and we had a few problems, 3 problems that it would just hang up. So I have no idea, what was going on with that. But we will have a call in part and I will announce that when we get to it. We'll, a little bit later on, in the show. So, but now we're going to move into the NBA. And this, I talked about all these fights and everything that was going on in the NBA. And now we're getting some clarity, or we have gotten some clarity, and suspensions have been, put out and given to the players. And what I'm talking about is, I should have said the Clippers versus the Rockets, because Aaron Aflalo, he got 2 games. Obviously, we know he was going to get some games, but I mean, he was lucky to get 2 games.